Sup y'all, it's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the new Mercenary system that's being added into PvP in patch 6.2.1. This is also the patch that's adding flying into Draenor, along with a couple of other, quality of life increases. But all that stuff is kind of just all on the sideboard now, and everybody's talking about this new Mercenary thing, and people have been sending me messages. They've been asking me, yo, Asmongold, are you going to make a video about this? Of course I'm going to make a video. This is the biggest fucking deal that's happened in like a year. This is a really, really big deal. And so, alright, I'm going to just kind of summarize this real quick, okay? Like, you can queue for Battlegrounds and Ashran as the opposite faction. And so, like, I'm a human, okay? I'm going to explain pretty much what's going on. So I'm a human, and let's say there's an imbalance, and like, I don't know if there's an imbalance in the people queuing or the win ratio. I'm not sure how it's decided. I think it's just the people queuing. So I go and I talk to this orc. He's got a cardboard human face, I guess, like, on top of him in Storm Shield, and I'm like, yo, I want to queue as Horde because I don't want to wait for 3 hours to get into Ashran. And then he's like, well, Zug, and then I'm like, alright, and then I'm in queue. That's just how simple it is. Now, guys, I know a lot of people are mad about this. I know a lot of people are really happy about this, and I'm going to kind of give you guys both of my opinions on this because I don't just have one. Now, I think that, like, alright, coming as, like, a person who's played this game for 9 years, alright, and I've been playing not World of Warcraft, but the Warcraft series since, like, the beginning of time, alright? I remember I was, like, 7 years old and I was playing Warcraft 2, alright? I've been doing this for a long time, Horde and Alliance, and so, like, seeing kind of the boundaries kind of blurred is kind of, it's almost sacrilegious, to think that Warcraft is allowing you to do this. And from a lore perspective and from an immersion perspective, I can really see why people are upset about this. And, I totally get that. And so, like, from a personal level, oh man, this is like, it's like in a year from now, I'm gonna tell y'all, in a year from now and 6 months from now, old PvP servers, people are going to be reminiscing on the times where you weren't able to just queue as the opposite faction. Like, this is going to be one of those things like Group Finder, like LFR, like a ton of other things that people think kind of diminish, like, the immersion of the game. And in a way it does, because, like, you can kind of play as the opposite faction. And I do kind of want to give you guys some details, but I don't really have too many of them because it's only been the first day that the announcement's been, been out. Now, really what this is supposed to do is it's going to transform your character entirely over to over to, like, let's say an undead. Okay, so, like, I always thought, like, undead look really cool, and so, like, as a human warrior, I don't know if you can choose your race that you go over to, or it's random or whatever. And so let's say I'm just an undead warrior, and so it transfers me over to an undead warrior. I now have cannibalized. I no longer have every man for himself because I'm not a man. I'm a skeleton, right? And so so those things are kind of changed, and it's an entirely different, character in a way. It's the same character, but it's a different model. You have different racials. Everything else like that is different. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the details are. Honestly, I'm not really sure, and I'm not really sure how a lot of you guys feel about this. And so right now, I just want to say before I really get into this too much, like, I think it has to happen. It has to happen, but guys, I want to hear what y'all feel about this because it's such a big deal, right? Like they've said over and over and over, they didn't want to do that because it breaks, the idea of, like, the two factions, which is very core element of Warcraft, Horde and Alliance, and they're finally blurring those lines a little bit. And I guess if anything, it's a little bit bittersweet as somebody who's been playing for a long time. But from a game design perspective, I would say, and also from a larger perspective, I would say that this really kind of does have to happen, unfortunately. Now, I wish that they could just flip a switch and everybody would just want to go back to Horde, but there are a lot of people now, since the tables have turned so far over to the Alliance, there are a lot of people who are not really going to be convinced to go back over to Horde. Now, a lot of people have thrown out the idea that, well, they should have just made Will of the Forsaken, the undead racial, equivalent to every man for himself, and then give everybody a free faction transfer, and hopefully that would rebalance things. Now, I don't really know if that's true or not, and also, what's really important about this change here is it solves an immediate problem. This is not really a long-term fix, because it doesn't really fix anything with the racials. The racials are still, in a lot of ways, unbalanced, and that's still a problem, but it does kind of put a band-aid on the issue. And, like, I made a couple of videos talking about the disparity between Horde and Alliance, and I said, like, this is not an issue that needs to be fixed next expansion. This is an issue that needs to be fixed next week, and apparently that's the way that Blizzard feels too, which I'm really kind of glad about. You know, this PvP thing where, like, you always queue in and, like, you're Horde and you lose, like, that's going to make people quit the game real quick. A lot of people just PvP, or they PvP a lot more than they PvE because they don't have time to raid on a schedule, etc., etc. And so, like, you know, basically those people are you know, like, systematically, structurally set up to fail, and I don't really think that's fair to them. Now, I mean, if you're an Alliance player, you know, fuck the Horde, okay, yeah, whatever, but whenever 50% of the player base is Horde, I mean, you've kind of got to look above, beyond, like, just your little narrow mindset is a lot bigger than that. And so I'm very glad that they're making this change from, as I said, a larger perspective, but personally, it is a little bit bittersweet to see that they're kind of blurring the lines a little bit more. You know, I always, like, kind of like the whole idea of, like, you know, you're a human and, you know, you're, like, in the Alliance and you're fighting the Horde, and it's like you gotta wait till level 40 to get your mount, you can't fly around, and because it's vanilla, you know, you've got to, there are no summoning stones, like all the old hardcore stuff. I really do enjoy that, and so I get, you know, I can see both sides of this, but I do think that this really kind of did have to happen. And also, I do want to make a, I guess, like, a kind of a distinction here, that they're not just going to allow people, apparently this is what they said, they're not going to just allow people to use the, this mercenary system all the time. They're going to use it whenever they're going to, I don't know, like, maybe the guy he goes away, he despawns, or you just can't really interact with him, whatever the reason is. You're not going to be able to interact with this other person, the mercenary vendor, or, I don't know, NPC that actually queues you for opposite faction PvP. You're not going to be able to talk to that person if it's like there's a good balance between Horde and Alliance. And so it's not like it's going to make the balance any worse, because if there is more of a balance, I don't really know. I'm assuming that, like, if there's already a ton of Alliance playing, Horde can't also queue as Alliance, but I'm not really sure about that either. But I'm kind of curious. I don't really want to talk too much about this, because I know that there's kind of going to be a lot of things that are going to change in the upcoming, like, maybe a few days, few weeks, probably even a few months, how this system is going to work. And, you know, I know that a lot of people, you know, are, like, really kind of surprised. And I'll be honest, like, I think same as probably with a lot of you guys, the first thing that you did whenever you read this is you checked the calendar date to make sure it wasn't April 1st. Like, at least that's what I did. I was very surprised. Very surprised. I think a lot of other people were too. It kind of came out of nowhere. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to go, but as I said before, twice, I think, and now I'm probably going to say it for one last time, hopefully, it's a little bit bittersweet. It's a little bit bittersweet that they're going to be doing this, but hopefully it is for the better. I think that it will be, but only time will tell. Only time will tell. And this does not fix the problem of overpowered racials. It does not fix that problem at all. But hopefully that thing, the overpowered racials and all that other stuff, will be addressed in the next expansion, because that's really the best that we can hope for, guys. Like, let's be real. And so anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about this whole thing. And I put in some footage, like, well, I guess it's obvious. I put in some footage of flying in Draenor. It looks pretty fucking cool, right? And so I'm pretty happy about that. And I also look forward to showing you guys some of the new things that are being added in patch 6.2.1. But until then, that's pretty much all I've got. And again, let me know how you guys feel. Are you glad about this? Are you just like, what the fuck is this? Or what is it? Because, I mean, I think actually I was a little bit of both. But I think a lot of people were too as well. So, again, that's pretty much all I've got. Thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.